Welcome to Yoga Time Warrior. I'm Tracy. A standing forward stretch. Really simple, right? Actually, that's where the magic of yoga really comes in. There is so much more to a standing forward stretch. So we need to understand a couple of principles first. Basically, the spine is always the center of our yoga practice. So everything integrates with the spine. The whole way we move always integrates with the spine. 2, we need to think about the fact that we are always stretching and strengthening at the same time. We're never doing just one of those things in our movements. We're always achieving both. So think about the pelvis and how the pelvis connects with the spine. And I'll show you a bit more now. So as we prepare to do our standing forward fold movement, draw your feet to hip width distance apart and have a think about how your pelvis connects with your spine. So tucking and tilting the pelvis. If you've watched any of my other videos, especially videos with movement or breath practice, you'll understand how we integrate our breathing with alignment of our spine. It's really important, but I'm not going into that here. What I will say though is that when we come forward, we use our exhale. As we draw in our lower abdominal muscles, it allows us to tip forward naturally at the hip and maintain that neutral pelvis position. Normally we draw our arms up if we are able, but if we're not able, hands to the hips suffices, as the arms act as a lever, which is an additional weight. Some of us don't want that additional weight, not until we've built up some strength in this movement. So we just do a nice big inhale here, expanding into the chest, lengthening up through the spine. And then as we exhale, we're drawing in those lower abdominals. We're really bending into those knees as we tip forward. Feel how when you bend, how the muscles in your legs are contracting as you are stabilizing as you come down. We want to draw the torso to the thighs. So we're feeling the backs of our legs stretch. And because we're not trying to straighten our legs, we're not trying to wrench the pelvis into a position that it's not comfortable with. We want our pelvis to be happy. Pelvis and our hips, they control so much of our stability in our body. We want to keep them happy. So if you think about this movement now, we can feel the backside of the body opening. We can feel our spine lengthening. We can feel our neck lengthening, our lower back, backs of the thighs, down into our calf muscles. It's a nice opening posture for the backside of the body. But now what happens when we come up? So when we come up, effectively what's happening is our torso is acting as a weight. We are lifting a weight. So don't ever forget that. So what we need to do, if you've ever been instructed in how to lift properly, whether that be in exercise or in the workplace, lifting anything, picking anything up off the ground, we're supposed to bend into our knees, aren't we? That's what we need to do now. We need to press our feet into the mat. We need to complete that exhale, contracting in our lower abdominal muscles, so we're really stabilizing into that lower back in the pelvis area. If our pelvis is not stable, the abdominals are not contracted, we have a tendency to collapse into our lower back. So press in those feet, contract the muscles of our legs, our buttocks, drawing the hands to the hips, drawing the shoulder blades together, activating the muscles of the back, feeling your buttocks contracting as you lift all the way up. That's our standing forward stretch. It's not just a stretch, is it? There's a whole lot of weightlifting going on there as well. So think about that. In our yoga practice, we are doing that a lot. So we are constantly working a lot of muscles as we're stretching muscles. We can now do that while we're seated. It acts slightly differently, so I'll go through that as well. So coming down onto the mat, in order to be comfortable in a forward fold, we still need to think about that alignment of the pelvis. So this is why I often suggest we sit on something. For some, something underneath the knees may be more helpful. We're all different. So the flexibility we have in our hamstrings will be different. I prefer to practice with something under my knees because I have a tendency to lock my knees down. I'm going to grab a pillow to do that now. For many, these towels that sit underneath our buttocks, they allow you to have a gentle inward arch in your lower back. That is a natural spine positioning, so it's really important you maintain that. You don't want to be collapsing backwards. Also think about those arms as levers again. So we can again still have our hands on our hips. Think about how the front side of our body is contracting. Complete an exhale here, drawing in the lower abdominals. Inhale, expanding to the chest, drawing the shoulder blades together and down the back, and really feel length in the spine. We want a nice long spine here. Feel those thighs contracting as part of our front side contraction as we slowly fold forward, tipping forward at the hip, lengthening the back side of our body. Bringing the hands to wherever is comfortable, and again drawing your torso towards your thighs. We can then relax as we draw them in together with a nice neutral positioning in our spine. You can just breathe here. And each exhale, we draw in those lower abdominal muscles. It allows our pelvis to relax deeper into that position. And this is where our breathing really comes into play here. When you come into your yoga time warrior practice, I guide you completely, so that you adjust slowly but surely every time you're coming into a movement. Now thinking about coming back up out of this posture again. So moving your hands to your hips. Think about how we're going to activate the back side of the body. So pressing the buttocks down into the mat like we were using our feet. We really want to contract those lower abdominals as we complete an exhale before we come up. Drawing our shoulder blades together and down the back, we really want to activate the back muscles to lift. Keeping our pelvis in a nice neutral position. So that's our forward folds in general. So think about how you practice with those. They really can build a lot of strength in the back side of the body. And by especially that standing forward fold, you can imagine how you then start to build strength in that lower back without tensing and stretching the muscles in the wrong way.